explain something. I was sleeping when I woke up. Can't. Other people saying it. Let me explain something to you that I was explaining in Chicago. When a person takes an oath, right, sometimes you may have an empress that may have had a temple night or a night make an oath at a time that caused the manipulation of the anatomy that causes the digression of the physical reality, because at the same time if that night conditions a physical reality, the the say the opposite, the parallel energy to his purity of the oath, because he made the oath kind of the astrological empress and wasn't his purity. The power, the empress, at the same time, a sequence in events of his journey of his vibrational current frequency within his habitation, within his innate condition, may be passed on to another individual of his condition. So when a man be looking for his purity, it'll cause a discrepancy, because say for instance, like, all right, my say one of my wives resemble uh, say 10 empresses, some of them resembled HAV and Liv, and HAV and Liv was younger than, how can I say this? They were older than HAV and Liv, but they looked younger. And then on top of it, HAV and Liv, it was the opposite of them. So if somebody made an oath to HAV and Liv, and their mother was the Tendril Empress, you know, it would show even at a point, at the top of course, a natural distortion in the anatomy. But say for instance, the emperors tried to get a cut close situation to the physical reality resembling the mother. So the mother would literally, it would literally show distortion in the anatomy of the physical reality of the family, and you'd have a family member that would be suffering a certain type of way, trying to, handle the situation a certain type of way, because they would be fighting with a form of their reality of existence, a form of a certain type of way. And then what would be causing that is because the impurity of the oath that would be trying to survive, that is just like, say, an empress that is not the original mother, that is another different astrological empress giving a person in the family pussy and comfort. Now, the mother does the same thing. It gives you pussy and comfort because it needs to continue a purity, but because other people's manipulation, and they don't realize the reason of segregation of the education of the physical reality, it starts causing a form of distortion. And then a- as it's giving a person who would be considered like a kid at the time some pussy, it would literally it would literally it would literally be manipulating the physical reality for such a long period of time, because you gotta remember, an empress that makes a person take the oath that is the original empress of their habitation, of their humane social economic original condition of the individual's DNA, of the individual's reality, would be causing a biohazard chemistry in the physical that would cause an uncomfortability at a time, because it would be trying to be a part of the placement or the acknowledgement of an individual, and then it would cause a form of uncomfortability in reality in the individual, and then other things would happen a certain type of way even at a time. So the empress, it would cause like it would lead up to an infection or a disease, or and the literal empress of the original being would literally be warning the child and trying to fight off, whatever's causing the uncomfortability because of certain things have been happening a certain type of way for so long. So now, if a child, like say for instance, like one of my children and stuff, and go make an oath for one of my other wives of a different astrological empress, and then it causes a literal distortion that's manipulating one's conscience because it be manipulating physics for pleasure. So it seems like it's something pleasurable, but it's trying to find comfort in a situation. So it'll be making a person do things that wasn't of his natural origin to his to the physical, not origin meaning dealing with a more depth of the situation a certain type of way. So a more to the origin because a person would have to be an intellect or to know the reason of one's intent when it comes to one's social economics or one's natural habitation of oneself. So it will cause a little uncomfortability in the person, and then it will lead up to further manipulation, and it could cause an individual's death because that's the oath that they made to the opposite empress would be the disease, the bacteria, the infection of the real reality because it wouldn't be the purity that was really loving the person. It would be the opposite that probably tried to handle the person a certain type of way at a time. And you see, me, I'm an original Asian Caucasian man. I'm an indigenous Asian Caucasian man. So and I'm a man of all light anatomy. So I'm just gonna be real. Even at a time, and my depth is so serious, it could be beyond fierce. But for another individual, like the continuance of my love, it would come out even dark, even at the time, because that means they weren't supposed to recondition the anatomy of a person's physical a certain type of way, so the anatomy would come out dark. But me or my children throughout, no matter what, even in the paradigm of time, will come out light in anatomy, especially the children of my real purity of they'll always be light, because what has to be intellectual and physical, yeah. If you have children that do things on purpose a certain type of way, that's a difference in reality. But I'm not just gonna explain everything a certain type of way. It's just like like I told you, if you have an empress that's causing natural distortion of a person's physical reality, you'll be able to see the the distortion a person will be causing a certain type of way in a person's physical reality. So one would naturally acknowledge and know what's going on a certain type of way when it comes to one's physics and physical reality because it will be it, you would notice the manipulation would lead up to the manipulation, the uncomfortability of the person, and then a person it's just like when the people used to be a part of Aryan Nation and they used to want to do certain things and they say they were preparing. I used to look at them some people like widows because they used to say they were preparing their physical to be able to combat the discomfort of reality for for one's endurance for the next day to make strengthening their matter of anatomy. So, I used to watch the children, do certain things to each other at the time, and I used to wonder what was the rush of them being so brutal and physical with each other a certain type of way at the time. And when I first, it's like having children and seeing them all fight and hurting themselves. And then a man says, "Hey, when I was making love, I mean, it was nothing like this to happen a certain type of way." But a person says, the the fierceness of the individual and to know precisely because I already have certain things in order within myself. So what would cause this at a point of reality at a time with an individual, and then one knowing one's elder, and then coming to one's sacredcy, dealing with the high point of acknowledgement, dealing with light, and when it comes to one's habitation, one already naturally knows what's already going on a certain type of way. So I already humbled myself just to be able to view my children even more precise with their situation according to their being, of my of their social economics of my wife. So a man would literally view a situation a certain type of way. So when certain things was happening, I knew I had to regard my wife, myself. Really, I was already okay, but regarding my wife, and then regarding the reasons of my love, of the intellectualness of light. So a man would have to view even in a depth, in an original reality. So, another person's very skeptical and saying, it's just like when I woke up, I heard the story of Jesus, and they're saying Jesus was born, and as Jesus grew up at a certain time, it caused Joseph, Joseph died, so something, they were skeptical about, you know, mm, uh, my reality when it came to the physical. A person was wondering what was going on a certain type of way. And I'm a man. I'm very serious when it comes to life. You know, uh, I I I I naturally light of one's acknowledgement is real of one's mythology of one's higher consciousness. So I don't believe in stupidity when it comes to people, and I usually handle situations. Around those times of Jesus, I was I was known as a form of Gandhi, but Buddha, but me, Emperor King, Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, when I was known as Dalai Lama, was, a wonderful time, but I didn't really play with individuals a certain type of way because of my physics was so, you know, intensity. It was so much of an intensity. It was so much too much for other individuals at the time. So if a person would look at me in a paradigm and see certain things, they would wonder about certain things of physical reality. Anyway, it's just like, let me show you how real this is. I was hearing something about age. Age is a person that tried to cause identity theft when it came to the golden ages, and she was she was never a part of the golden ages. The times of love, and the times of the golden dawn, and the times of the the golden prevail was times of one of love, loving, loving, loving existence, or the times of gold, the times of the golden ages. It was called ages. You know, Another person says it wasn't called the golden age. It was called the golden ages. And then a person wonders about certain things. There's things that's not spoken about a certain type of way because it was more than individuals when it came to one's being a certain type of way. So a person had to know the difference even in the habitation. And then there was love, a golden, there was a golden love, the golden love time. So another person doesn't know what was going on, and it was all before HoNor lived. So those are people that want to cut into history because they wanted to undo a person's love because they went after the Empress of Love. And you remember, Liv, her name was Love, but we called her Liv because she almost got murdered for wanting to defile love. She wanted to know the attributes of love, and then she caused the defouling of love, and then we switched her name to Liv. You know, because she was a person that was going after certain type of forms of craft magic that wanted to be cannibalistic with individuals at a time, and then we called her live like live her, because like she she did something that she wasn't supposed to do when it came to the pyramids a certain type of way, and then she tried to kill the real love of the real mythology of one's intellect, of one's higher consciousness. So because she tried to defy the real love, I had another wife that was already named Liz, that was the real, also admired through all the higher intellectual existence that was beyond kept sacred at the time because of the things that were so real in life that men already conquered the reason of that reality a certain type of way. It didn't matter. So but Liv, her name was Love, that wanted to know the attributes of love of Iraq, being Shield's mother. When she tried to defile the Empress of Love, because she tried to devalue the reason of tribute, she caused confusion because she was already giving individuals forms of love that was leading up to an infection and disease because she was trying to not, giving them a point that wasn't of their purity. And then on top of it, she was being a host on individuals causing the deterioration of their physical at a time. And I was over here causing preparation for repairing one's happiness because I seen that I was gonna get hurt at a time, and then her continuing to deteriorate, it was doing something different. So man, so yeah, I was seeing certain things, but it seems like it's gonna get serious when it comes to one's life because the acknowledgement of other intent of an individual because she wasn't realizing why I didn't want to have too much children with her. It's because of what I seen at the time. So she was already nervous about certain things. And remember, HLA and Liv had their own individual, had their own jewel, they had their own planet, but they didn't have children. So it was a difference. It's like I literally gave her a child, like, of real purity that wasn't an infection at any time in any reality. But the child turned into an infection. It caused it wanted to provide the evidence that it could do anything and be manipulated and it caused an infection. In our love, for it seemed like perfect for a long period of time, only until certain other empresses started appearing in the physical because there was a parallel emphasis that was way different than the astrological tree that was around at the time, and there was nothing wrong with her until certain other empresses started coming around, and then she started seeing that it was causing a form of uncomfortability in her physical reality. When them empresses came, there was a higher emphasis than there in reality, and she didn't understand the disciplinary actions of the empresses already disciplining the humanity for for social economic education and for the quality of the future. and she was feeling discomfort, and then them empresses already done conquered existence a certain type of way, and then she didn't realize the reason of the order, so she tried to war against higher empresses and did wrong things. H.A. and Liv, they did the wrong things, and by doing that, those empresses didn't say nothing, and they knew there was already an order of reason why my empress wanted to continue my love. But when she seen, when certain empresses seen that they were gonna violate the physical reality of my love, and that was gonna cause the reasons of the discomfort, they wanted to discipline the situation a certain type of way. So they never said nothing. So they fell back a certain type of way. So and they just handled the other empresses because they were wondering why would that happen at a time, and they're the reason of the higher consciousness. So they were even more detrimentally, um, furious when it came to the situation, and they were very mad because they even showed, even on the physical at the time, that they wanted a point of reparation, and they didn't want to do interference a certain type of way. So the empress that caused that type of situation to continue, and at the time, what was it that caused, what type of martial arts was being done that caused the discomfort of the reality, and for one to retaliate against their consciousness. So they they were already gonna, I didn't want to say nothing, at the time, because my wives already knew the education, and they knew how I should be feeling. So it was like it was not for me to be said to explain anything. So once I started seeing certain things, my wives started feeling a certain type of way because they had to make sure the situation would be able to handle itself a certain type of way before it got into any further endeavors, because a man has to be very comfortable in the physical, because a man is naturally the real conqueror of existence, and I'm the original man. So she she already knew how in life there couldn't be no discomfort because I'm the reason of their existence. So they 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 wanted to know what was causing this type of situation, but it was because individuals was abusing the high form of intellect of their social education to their habitation, and it was such on a pure level that it caused a disturbance, and it was, because other individuals started doing the wrong thing, trying to manipulate the reason of existence, and they ended up, and the things that they were getting into is beyond destructive. So a person was, you know they they were looking for a reason just to say they had um glorified situations of the physical, but they were actually defiling the reason of real intellect education when it came to even one's honor. So, you know, then, things that was being done a certain type of way had to be looked upon because of what I already went through and conquered, the physical. So my wives already knew, like, oh, th- this is the situation that accumulated at a certain time that was already being harmful to the real empresses, that was going to cause the distortion and the deterioration of the real empresses of the physical, these men that was already defiling the light, so, and their mothers that was coinciding with them, and then knowing the martial arts that was done ahead of time, and a man regarded himself, and then for all the real empresses and all the real empresses that was already that was already, you know, filtering their habitation and loving the emotions for the continuance of the existence of human social economics of all humanity, and then started feeling discomfort at a major point, seeing what caused the discomfort precisely when it came to all the real emphasis of the higher consciousness. And then, when you have been times that, people that didn't honor the reason of their higher dignity, that people that was really trying to cause the parallel of one's habitation, of one's purity, of one's obligations. One's intellect is serious, but the way they were going about life was a little too much. They were causing devious endeavors that was causing some type of foul chemistry of individuals' habitation. So one had to be very, very delicate with situations a certain type of way. So, you know something? The Tide soap. You see the bottle of Tide soap that I use right there? But somebody, somebody, literally, somebody had took some of the Tide soap, and they weren't supposed to take the Tide soap when I was here. And when I came back, the television wasn't in the room. So somebody was trying to show their form of authority and manipulating the physical reality. It's gonna lead up to another type of situation of the physical. So because before I left, um, the Tide soap bottle was a little fuller than what it was. I did a little really nothing, but it was just like, anyway, listen, man. It's okay with other individuals, but anyway, I'm a man that's very intellectual, so I know the reason of intellect a certain type of way being different from one's natural habitation when it comes to one's natural acknowledgement of even one's conscience. But anyway, I'm gonna say just like this. You know, at the time of those empresses being a form of discomfort at a time, individuals knew, because of the reason of the education at the time, they had to humble because what would have caused the discomfort. And then remember, Rags educating shield was also needed 10 astrological emphasis of the Jews, and they were being educated in high element science when it came to the natural elements of existence, like fire, certain other elements, it, and they were being manipulated, and then it was causing serious controversy and discomfort at the time. And remember, individuals of purity never had the discomfort a certain type of way at the time. So, and then it only happened when men would, after that it was like, you know, and then a person that takes an oath, that's not like a purely, that's the beginning of the disease that was leading up to manipulate their consciousness of the reality. Because another empress is seen as like the survival of her habitation, but how are you trying to manipulate a child and tell a child is a survival for their habitation to continue their point of existence when the empress has a husband? So what happened at a certain time that the empress had to reassure with somebody that was a lower, demoralizing reality than the individual than her husband? Like, I mean, she already forgot about the higher consciousness, was already preparing for something a certain type of way when there was a natural order in the empress is also. So, I don't want to say anything else. It's just like my empress of this earth. She already had empresses of the reasons of her higher consciousness and the reasons of her natural education. The time that was even put away in a form of secrecy for her acknowledgement, so she would never re- forget the reasons of her habitation and stuff. But if you have people that's trying to defile an individual's existence or something else, it's just like what I told you with the farm, that individuals causing the misplacement of certain black people by putting down certain type of soil, and then it's gonna show even in the physics of an individual because the individual wants to see the reality, say they were a part of something and doesn't know the reason of the death. And I'm a person that is a very enlightened and intellectual person of the physical. So a person, for me, I'm perfect. So it'll come out a different type of way in my reality, but another person doesn't know the reason of my death. That's what I mean. Hey, well, speaking of retirement, I just got out of a retreat. I just want to feel more comfortable for myself. Uh, uh, now I go back to sleep because today's the day of my relaxation. So I don't really do too much asking for, if I feel like getting taken. Let me rest because all the long trips I've been on for the past couple of days, this is my time of rest and not for my habitation. So let me just, let me just lay here.